Now, moving from Madsen on to Kate Marsh and the wider student body of Blackwell Academy, I think Kate represents two stereotypes present in a lot of high school dramas and fiction. The first being the bullied kid, and this is always the kid that can't catch a break and is scrutinised both by adults and their young peers alike. And the second is a less frequent stereotype, and that's being, the kind of devoutly religious kid. In most teen and high school drama and, settings, we have one or the other of these tropes being explored, usually represented by a secondary character. And in Kate's instance, her religion and drunken departure from that religion in the Vortex Club fuel the subsequent bullying we see her suffer throughout the first 3 episodes of the game. Now, for my part, I think Kate's bullying is significant in 2 ways. The first being the almost current affairs nature of her bullying, which represents how new technology and mass communication permits the instant proliferation of content and thus, viral bullying, which frankly makes me glad that I left high school, a decade ago, well over a decade ago, because it seems quite demoralising to me, and I'm sure this does happen quite frequently in real life. But anyway, the second significant aspect of Kate's bullying is that although Kate is, on the whole, second fiddle to the major themes of the game, she is incredibly important as the catalyst to the consequences taking a serious turn, as I stated earlier. The first life or death scenario we encounter hinges around Kate's attempted suicide, and we start realising the incremental micro interactions that we've had with her. For example, whether we choose to answer the phone to her or whether we choose to say nice things to her, and indeed what we remember about prior conversations with her, kind of culminates in this moment of life or death. Kate is also the driving force behind Max's resolve to pursue Nathan, which in turn propels the plot further into its primary red herring and antagonist, and its eventual reveal. So, although quite passive, indeed Kate is probably the mildest, most unassuming character in the game. Her maltreatment is closely a product of the creepy goings-on in Arcadia Bay and intertwined with the primary mystery, which is the disappearance of Rachel Amber. I mean, to be honest, aside from these kind of catalysts to the plot trajectory, I don't actually have that much to say about Kate, other than she is without a doubt one of the most sympathetic characters in this game. She has, quite a sickly complexion, quite a Puritan dress code, and her religious conservatism alienates her from her peers, but she's also alienated from her ultra-conservative family, in turn making her quite a psychologically isolated and lonely person, particularly after the viral video incident. So if you manage to save Kate, however, there is some interesting second guessing that takes place among the rest of the student body, and things do start looking up for her in the end, which is really nice, I think. And it's a neat moment of realisation, not so much for Kate, who never put her foot wrong in the first place, but actually for, the wider peer group around her, who either ignored or actively partook in her bullying of, clearly quite a sensitive person. And again, it ties back with this theme of kind of morality and ethics that I was talking about earlier, which, I really quite liked.